Any land that is currently not under Islamic rule is under the dominion of House of War. So the United States is under the House of War. Any country. So right now, for example, the OIC, the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, is a collection of 56 Islamic countries. Each of those 56 countries, once upon a time, had zero Islam. But after 1400 years, we have 56 countries that are Islamic.
To understand religion, you really have to know the religion. Mr. Gad Saad, in 2 minutes, can teach us about what Islam is about. Let's listen together, and then we'll talk about it afterwards. Kindly subscribe to our channel so a little bit of light will push away a lot of darkness.
Islam is a supremacist religion. It says that the world must be fully and wholly Islamic. Islam is also binary. Let me explain what that means. In Arabic, I'm going to say them in Arabic and then I'm going to translate. There are two camps in the world. There is Dar al-Islam and Dar al-Harb. Dar al-Islam means the house of Islam. Dar al-Harb means the house of war. Why am I saying this? Any land that is currently not under Islamic rule is under the dominion of House of War. So the United States is under the House of War. Any country. So right now, for example, the OIC, the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, is a collection of 56 Islamic countries. Each of those 56 countries, once upon a time, had zero Islam. But after 1400 years, we have 56 countries that are Islamic. Now, another important point. Any country, any territory that has ever been under Islamic rule, but then is lost, must be reconquered. You follow? So, for example, when jihadists say, we must reconquer Al-Andalusia. Al-Andalusia is an area in today's Spain. Well, in the olden days, that area was ruled by the Moors, an Islamic conquering people. Well, then Spain, Christian Spain, regained it. But according to Islamic logic, once something becomes Islamic, it could never revert to not being Islamic. So that little land that Netanyahu showed you, that little sliver, that little canal, to the extent that once upon a time it was under Islamic rule, it is an existential affront for those Jews to now be dominating that land. It is against our theological teaching that it should be Jewish. This is why Egypt used to be completely Coptic Christians many hundreds of years ago. Today, it's only 10% Coptic. What happened to the Copts? Iraq used to have a huge Christian community. Now they're no longer there. What happened to Iraqi Christians? What happened to Syrian Christians? Iran used to be non-Islamic. It used to be Zoroastrian and Baha'i. Now it is an Islamic country. So Islam conquers places. The quicker the United States and the West realizes this, the better off we'll all be.
And this is an existential threat to humanity for all purposes and means. As Mr. Gad Saad, who is a great professor who understands Islamic religion and understands the Western's religion, and he makes it very clear for us to appreciate and understand that the Islamic religion is focused on a caliphate to take over the world. And it's important for us to understand what we're dealing with. It's important for us to realize where we're at and what all this hatred is all about. Why do they want Israel out of the Middle East? It's because Israel has been a hindrance for them to conquer the world. Israel, with its existence in the heart of the Middle East, even though it's a small sliver of land, smaller than New Jersey, is not allowing them to spread the caliphate, for them to spread their Islamists, to conquer the world, and believing that we must believe in their religion, which is so different than the Judeo-Christian religions. In Judaism, we don't proselytize to other religions to come, you got to believe what we believe. That's not part of Judaism. We respect every religion that's out there. We understand that everything from heaven is by divine providence. That if by divine providence you were born into a family that's Christian, then you ought to be Christian. If you were born to a family that's Jewish, you ought to be Jewish. If you are born to a family that's Muslim, you ought to be Muslim. And it's okay for people to have different theological belief systems. It doesn't mean because I don't believe what you believe that I deserve death. That's not a religion, that's a death cult. That's the 7th century mentality. We're here in the 21st century. The world should have matured enough to be able to learn how to coexist with each other, how to respect each other's religions, and to salute each other's religions. Did you know that during the times of the temple, during the high holidays, the Jewish people will bring 70 extra sacrifices representing the 70 nations of the world, representing the different theological faiths of each nation. But the Jewish people would honor it, would respect it. That is Judaism. We are a religion of peace. We have always been a religion that doesn't just like peace, we pursue peace. For only one reason. Because on Mount Sinai, when God gave us the 10 Commandments, during that revelation, there were 3 million Israelites who at that time accepted upon themselves the mandate to be a light unto the nations. The mandate to teach the world the Bible, the precepts of the Torah. And that's why Judaism is the father of Christianity. It preceded Christianity, preceded Islam, and preceded most of the other religions that afterwards. And the goal of Judaism is to make this world a dwelling place for godliness, a place where the divine will feel comfortable. And God told us how to do that if we just follow the 10 Commandments. And the Jewish people actually have 613 commandments to follow. But the rest of the world has the 7 general Noahide laws. If we were to follow those and learn how to respect each other and learn how to appreciate each other and not force your religion onto others, then it's not a religion. It's a death cult. So we as a world who have matured and are living in the 21st century, it's incumbent upon us, it behooves upon us to try as hard as we can to pull the rest of the world out of the 7th century and move them forward, and realize that it's okay if we don't believe what you believe. It's okay, we can still live. And unfortunately, we're dealing with a formidable force out there. Judaism, we're just 15 million. We got 2 billion Muslims. And even if a fraction % of them are radical, ultra-Islamists, that's a formidable millions, hundreds of millions of them who are seeking our annihilation. So we need to always remember not to fear. During the times of the decree in Persia, when the famous story of the book of Esther, when Haman set a decree to annihilate all the Jews, even back then, 2,500 years ago, Mordechai declared, "Do not fear." And actually, we read it every day in our prayer book. 3 times a day, we conclude the services with this verse, "Do not fear, because God is with you." So for us also, even though the world may seem to be crumbling in front of us, during these tumultuous times, do not fear, because God is with us, and God will not let this happen to us. God bless you. God loves you.